Will you settle
Good. Are
down?
you gonna stop being trouble? Shithead?
Never.
Never.
Why would he do such a thing?
He keeps my life interesting.
Mm,
Um,
never be bored with a cat.
yes, so now that I finally got my audio sorted, I think I am keeping the mic in frame thing. But
Okay.
now that I've got my audio sorted, Brooks has a new microphone that we're adjusting to, so we're doing
Oh,
great.
new to me.
New to you, yes. She got my old microphone, because I have
Here.
this one now. Um, do we want to start with any potential tales from our past weekend of hanging out, or should I dive right into my insane hyperfixation rant?
Okay. What kind of tales were you thinking?
I don't know. Anything you feel like was worth
Oh.
telling?
Hmm. Well, you did paint my fingernails black while you were drunk, so there's that.
And I see you've already taken it off.
Well, it was like horrifically chipped.
Oops.
You only put on the one coat.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so I actually just took it off a couple hours ago.
Cute.
It was looking pretty rough.
I tried.
So that
Um,
was
I
interesting.
loved the midnight pizza was an excellent move on your part. I'm just there laying on the couch, and then you're like, "Oh, the pizza." I'm like, "The what?" Because you definitely said it to me, but I was not paying attention.
Well, all I said was, if I got some pizza, would you want some?
And I was
And
like,
then all
"Yeah, kinda." And then like 40 minutes went by, and I was like, "Oh, that happened."
I remember saying, so I ordered a pizza and it's here.
Proud of us.
Yeah, it
Hi.
was lovely. Sometimes, like I was saying at the time, I feel like pizza is better when it's unexpected pizza.
That did. It wasn't even like particularly great pizza, but that did hit really hard.
Yeah, because it was just like, if you show up at a place and you didn't think there was going to be pizza and they're like, hey, there's pizza, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's
Or,
like the best thing that's ever happened to you.
yeah, or like if you didn't like plan on ordering it, but you just suddenly had a hankering and then you ordered it, it's like that much better.
I would agree.
So midnight, it just felt like the time.
It did feel like and it worked out. It was delightful. But
Uh-huh.
as I'm sure you surmised from the things that I sent you on Twitter this morning, yeah, I hope you didn't think that you were escaping hearing about this in a like not just over like Twitter DMs. Um, things are happening in the world of Ghost, which is very exciting because apparently, overnight in LA, this gigantic billboard popped up, which is just a picture, like it's just a black and white photo of Copia, and it says Jesus is coming. That's it.
Could that be potentially them teasing a new character for him?
Hmm. There are several theories, and this is where the rant part comes in. There are several theories because it kind and like I'm gonna be linking all this shit because in the picture it kind of looks like both of his eyes are white now instead of just the one.
Hmm.
And it's like, what does that mean? And some genius on Twitter also pointed out that in the most recent Message from the Clergy EP, um, the art that they have on the front is like it's like this old like Roman coin, but instead of whatever emperor or whatever, it's Copia. And somebody pointed out it's like, oh, maybe like there's theories that like maybe Copia is going insane. But then somebody pointed out, oh, on that artwork, his eyes bleeding. So like, what does that mean? I just yeah, what does it mean? I'm like kind of afraid for my life. I'm afraid for his life.
Hard to say.
Hard to say indeed. I cannot imagine being like a really big Ghost fan and like you just like imagine like that happens to be the street that you like pass every morning on your way to work or whatever and like you're a really big Ghost fan. Heart attack.
Just
Yep.
yeah.
Instant death.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm both excited and scared for.
I think that was probably the intended effect.
Probably.
Like, why else would they just put that up with no explanation?
What's just throwing me in particularly is like the Jesus is coming, because I've seen two theories that I really like. One of which is that instead of the Antichrist, Copia is the false prophet, which has some pretty solid evidence as far as I'm concerned, because it's like, oh, the false prophet will be like, they'll be likable, which like I would say he definitely is. He's probably one of the most popular characters that the band has introduced thus far. He'll have the mark of the beast. His number will be like 666. And there's a mural from one of their stage setups that were like, can you not on the printer? No.
Oh, when I left, I told him I'd see him tomorrow on the pod.
No, you did.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, go to your beanbag. But yeah, there's a mural on one of the stage setups where Copia canonically has a tattoo that is 666. And there's like, oh, he'll have like dragon, like something associated with the dragon. And there's a point in some of the sets where he wears fucking dragon / bat wings on one of his jackets. I'm afraid for my life. I'm afraid for his life. I don't know where this is going. And I'm gonna be really sad if like I have just kind of like found my footing in this like fandom and like gotten attached to the character that's like fronting it now, only to have him ripped away as soon as I'm like, yeah, this guy's great.
How often does he change characters?
Like every album, technically every album, although Cardinal Copia and Papa Emeritus IV are technically the same person, just with a different rank.
Hmm.
But other than that, every album. And I'm also wondering if, like, could Antichrist, my theory, or like the thing that I screamed on Twitter very excitedly, it's like, what if Antichrist Copia resurrects Primo Secondo and Terzo?
Hmm.
I'll lose my mind. I'll lose my mind if I'm correct. I don't think I am, especially in light of having seen the false prophet and Antichrist theory evidence. But man, that'd be fun. And I'm now seeing in my camera that hold on, I have to fix something. Idiot hours. Anyway, I don't expect you to have opinions on any of the things that I just said, but I wanted to say them because I'm really excited.
Yeah. Can't say that I have particular thoughts, not having any attachments to any characters or anything.
Yes, I did make Brooks listen to several Ghost albums over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I'm sorry, but I'd be lying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, stay tuned to watch my descent into madness as things develop.
All right.
And now we get to talk about one of the like, I guess an officially sanctioned conversation about something that we did over the weekend. We saw a movie together, which I think for the first time ever, like went to a movie theater together.
Actually, you might be right. I never thought about it. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, that is weird.
But that's what happened.
Yeah.
Do you want to take the lead on this one, or shall I?
Take the lead.
Yeah, with the conversation.
I feel like you probably have stronger opinions.
I don't know that I do, is the thing. We saw Skinamarink,
Mm-hmm.
which was fucking weird. Don't think that's
Which,
going to be a shock to anybody.
which, per the article I sent you earlier, made 60 times its budget over the
Yeah,
weekend.
because what did it cost? Like,
$15,000.
yeah, $15,000, which like is a lot of money, but also isn't, especially when you're talking about a full length
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, can you imagine that kind of return on investment?
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah, and honestly, nothing but good things for my man Kyle Edward Ball, who like did just about everything.
Mm-hmm. To the point where there were no credits at the
Yeah,
end.
well, actually, technically, you did miss like the 2 minutes of like they did they got all the credits out of the way in the opening because there were so few.
Okay.
But I guess the one sentence synopsis I would give to anybody who hasn't seen this, and if you haven't seen this, honestly, I would say turn this episode off and if you haven't seen it and you want to, turn this episode off and go watch it, because we're gonna get into spoiler territory. But
Mm-hmm.
the one sentence synopsis for anyone who doesn't really care to go see it would be these two kids wake up in the middle of the night and find that their father is missing and all of the doors and windows that lead out of their house are just gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. There you have it. It's
That's
very simple premise, and frankly I've seen people getting very salty about it and like feeling kind of like cheated by the whole experience of watching it, which like if it doesn't work for you then it just doesn't work for you. But I am still thinking about it, which in
yeah.
my mind is a good thing. Like, if anything makes a lasting impact on you, whether or not that impact is good or bad, it kind of has to mean something.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to a theater to see something that has been described as an experimental horror film,
And you come out
and
of it pissed that there's no, like, clean, like, resolution, I'm gonna
yeah,
say that's on you.
yeah. I mean, I expected it to be kind of weird and to use techniques that you don't typically see, right? Because like, there's very little dialogue in the whole thing, and it's like all whispered.
Yeah,
And
super minimal dialogue. Some of it,
yeah,
like, you can't even tell if like, there's points where it's like, is someone speaking, or is this just, like, weird
yeah,
noise distortion?
yeah, and they have to use subtitles a lot because of
They
that.
have to use subtitles, and I'm still trying to figure out if there was any rhyme or reason to, like, why certain things were subtitled and why certain things weren't.
Yeah. And you
Um,
also don't really see anybody's face in the whole thing.
you see one single face, but it is a face, like, that does not have eyes or a mouth.
Well, yes,
And is,
that's
like, clearly
that
deep
is
in the,
true, I
like,
guess.
sort of surrealist.
Yeah.
I think only, like, the first third of the film is grounded in any sort of reality, I would
Yeah.
say. The last, like, two-thirds, very experimental, very surrealist, very, very out there. Um,
Mhm.
oh, I had something. Where was I going with this? Oh, one of the things that I sort of found myself thinking of later was that there were a couple things that reminded me of some things that David Lynch does, where the camera like lingers on an inanimate object that is giving off some sort of like droning sound, some sort of background hum, and just sort of lets and like boosts that sound beyond like what it would be like in a natural environment, and just sort of like lets you make of that what you will. Like the shot of there's a couple shots in like early episodes of Twin Peaks, and I think in the pilot, where he just like has the camera like tilted up at this weird angle at a ceiling fan, and he just like
Mhm.
has the like the drone of the ceiling fan like cranked all the way up, and it's just the effect that it has is kind of like shocking for how simple it is, because you're like this is like weird, this is uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And there were several points while I was watching where I was like, this feels very familiar, and that's why. Excuse me.
Yeah, I feel like they kept having that kind of focus on I think it was a hallway,
Mm.
like or a door frame, something like that, where I kept thinking I was like, I feel like we're supposed to be seeing something in the darkness right there.
Yeah, the entire film takes place, like in my mind, it takes place in the like 3 seconds between like when you would dart from your bedroom to your parents' bedroom when you woke up in the middle of the night as a kid and you were freaked out. And like as a kid who like undiagnosed anxiety, but as a kid who would like frequently lay awake at night just like convinced that something bad was going to happen, they captured that feeling so well of just like staring into the dark and like being like, I don't think there's anything there, but like, what if there is?
Well, that's why I think, because they say toward the beginning of the movie when the dad's on the phone that, Kevin, the boy, had fallen down the stairs and, hit his head. And so to me, I think this is all him laying in bed, like half awake, half asleep, and just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
dreaming slash imagining these things. Because I feel like that was always what scared me as a kid when I'd be like partially asleep. but I could see my room because I was also partially awake,
Yeah.
and I was convinced I saw something,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. And like, oh, what the hell else was I gonna say? I hadn't. Oh, and there's some like phenomenon where the human brain will like pick faces out of kind of like meaningless patterns, and the entire film has a like. I'm certain that it's like actually shot on like physical film, just because of the amount of like film grain that there is, but it's definitely like amped up in post to just an absolutely insane degree. Like the entire, and you were said you thought it might be like an overlay of like rain like superimposed over every shot, but like to the point where even when you are looking at like a completely like black screen, like the whole thing is like moving. And there were so many points where I was like, am I just picking out something, or like is that a, which like again is like the whole point of like the entire thing, just like staring into the dark and being like, is there something there? Because I was like, am like is that a face, or am I just picking that out of the randomness?
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you look at the way it's moving, even on a black screen, like it looks like it's going down. Like all the movement, kind of like
It
little things
see
are
I
moving
didn't,
down.
and maybe this is just like difference, like little differences in how people perceive things, but like it kind of looked like it was like boiling almost to me. Like I could see like
Hmm,
convection circles.
interesting. Yeah, but it also sounded like rain because it had that static over everything. It just sounds
Yeah,
like any day.
yeah.
And there was one point in the middle of it where it seemed like, oh, just like this normal amount of rain, and then all of a sudden it got really intense, and you could actually see like water drops bouncing from the bottom of the screen.
Hmm.
I kind of, I really wish I had this so I could like study it.
Yeah, like as much as I wouldn't necessarily describe the experience of watching it as like enjoyable, I do
Mm,
want, like I want to kind of like comb through it again.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was very slow moving. That's kind of the idea of it, but
Yeah. Again, I think they're, oh, I thought I still had seltzer left. Big sad. Um anyway, um I mean, it hasn't been marketed like a ton. It's kind of just like finding who, it's like finding its audience through like if you are already into this like weird experimental type stuff, then like this will make its way to you eventually, like through the grapevine, or like if you're the type of person who is already like subscribed to like it's a Shudder original, so like if you're a horror fanatic, you're probably already subscribed to Shudder, like so you'll hear about this. But yeah, I just something always, and again, if film just doesn't work for you, then it just doesn't work for you, but it does always annoy me when I hear people like when people need something to happen almost. I don't know, which is such a weird way of like I don't know. I don't even necessarily know what I'm trying to say. I just get really annoyed when people are like, "Oh, like nothing really happened." Like is it not enough for you to just experience this? Like does it have to like does it have to do something?
I think that's what we've been conditioned to expect, though.
Yeah.
Like, stories, you start with your exposition, you have the rising action, and the climax, and then the resolution and everything. And so if something doesn't follow that narrative pattern that we've been conditioned to expect all of our lives, it kind of feels dissatisfying sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's all based on that like schema that we build on our heads.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't
But
know. I am very much an appreciator of the film where absolutely nothing really happens, and
yeah,
I get salty when other people when people like can't get anything from it.
like everybody else that was in the theater with us.
Oh my god. The lights come up and I just hear several. What the fuck?
What?
Which like again, if you came to this, you should like I feel like you had to have some idea of what you were getting into.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
another
cuz
thing is
even the
like
trailer, it's like you can tell that this is deeply experimental
yeah.
from the trailer alone, because the trailer gives you nothing, gives you absolutely nothing to work with other than like a vibe,
Hmm.
which frankly I
Which,
think more trailers should do, but that's just me personally.
but I think it captures the movie at the same time.
Oh,
So,
100%.
because the movie is really just a vibe.
Yeah, it really is just a vibe. And for some people, that's going to mean a lot. Like, I've heard people say that, like, just on Twitter and stuff, people be like, oh, yeah, I watched this, like, alone in my apartment on my laptop at 3 a.m. with all the lights off, and it was the most scared I've ever been in my life. And, like, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I can see that making a huge impact.
Yeah. I feel like that would make it probably scarier than it was in the theater, surrounded, well, not surrounded by people, but there were other people.
Yeah. I feel like it has to be one of those two, like, experiences. Like, you either have to see it, or, like, you either have to watch it alone in the middle of the night with all the lights off, like, on your laptop, headphones in, or you have to go see it in a theater. You can't, like, sit down in your living room with one lamp on.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, like, you are just not going to get the full experience. It has to be one of those two extremes. It has to be,
Mhm.
like, in the most public viewing format possible or the most isolated viewing format possible.
Hmm.
That's my hot take.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're open to a very weird film experience, if you like surrealism and experimental horror films, or again, if you really just want to make yourself super uncomfortable at 3 a.m., go check out Skinamarink. It is, if nothing else, it is something that you have not seen before. I can promise you that.
And it'll give you a lot to think about, and maybe you'll also fall down a rabbit hole of reading articles afterward
Mm-hmm.
of all the
There's
different
nothing
theories
I
about
love more
symbolism.
than when I walk out of a movie and I'm just like, oh, I cannot wait to see what people have to say about this. Like, that is just like, just a whole new discourse for me to sink my teeth into, get my grubby little hands all over it.
Like that theory about it being a metaphor for child abuse. Like,
Yeah, or like I think people have said like it's sleep paralysis. It could be like
yeah,
child abuse, or it could. So I've heard someone say that like, oh, maybe like the kid's parents are like going through a divorce, and this is like the like sort of realization that like not everything's okay.
yeah. Or the one of the theories that the mother had passed away.
Yeah,
And this is
facts.
sort of the
I
trauma response.
love whenever I walk out of a like, or not even necessarily just like a movie. Like I love whenever I finish any like piece of media, whether that's film, TV, finish a book, and I'm just like, ooh, now I get to see what everyone else thinks.
Hmm.
That's a very fun moment for me. That's a moment I like a lot.
Yeah.
Good talk.
As though we didn't talk about it just like a few days ago.
I mean, we did, but I think I brought up at least one thing that I didn't say. I had to sit on some things. I don't know. I think I did.
Just us for like an hour after the movie, sitting there on our phones, like looking things
Just like
up.
sending shit. And also, just unrelated, I love the whole spoilers without context meme format.
Yeah,
It
that
does
was a
not
lot.
matter the movie. Like, I saw a couple for this one, and especially like whenever there's some. I'm fucking sick of them, but whenever there's some massive Marvel movie that comes out and everyone does like, XYZ spoilers, but without context, they're so. Every single time, they're so funny. I love that meme format. Please do not ever let it die. Anyway, moving along. Um, Actually, this one we were talking vaguely about childhood. That's what this kind of goes back to. In when you were in like elementary school, middle school, possibly even high school, what color were um each of your like subjects? What like were you a color coding your folders kid? Because I certainly was, and like all of my friends, like everyone I knew growing up, that's what how.
Yeah, you have a different color like notebook or folder for each
Okay,
subject.
yeah. So what colors are the subjects?
Well, first of all, what are our subjects? We're talking science, English,
Science, English,
political
math,
studies, math.
social studies.
I feel like we're missing something. It's gotta be more than four things, right?
Did you have a music class?
Probably. I guess it
Okay.
depends on what grade we're
Yeah, and like
talking.
this is where we're gonna kind of split off a little bit because yeah, I don't know if there's another like universal like that.
Yeah, so maybe we stick with those four.
Yeah. Um, Science is green.
Well, yeah, because like trees and grass, like what you would have in like a
Precisely. Oh, you
class,
get me.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that made sense
Science
to
is
me.
green. Absolutely no room for argument here.
Mm-hmm.
Math is red.
Interesting. Do you have a reason for that?
I fucking hate math.
I was gonna say blue.
Why?
And I think the reason is because in some math classes you use like the graph paper that has blue lines on it. And so I think I've
Oh.
kind of created that association. Plus, it's sort of like a cold color, and math is very like analytical. Red's like fiery and like passionate, which
Oh,
is why.
art. Holy shit. You had an
Oh yeah,
art class.
yeah,
There we
that's
go.
true.
Okay, so we have five now. No, math was red, and I don't know why. Or like, I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I hate math. I'm angry at it. Red. And I mean, currently in my life, and this has been this way for a while, like black and red is my favorite color combination in the world. Like I
Yeah,
fucking love the color red. But at the time,
yeah.
when I was color coding my school subjects, that is what I did.
You know, I used red for English because it was a much more like sort of again like fiery, passionate,
English
sort of
was
romantic
blue.
color. So we have our English and math flip-flop.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say something controversial. Social studies was purple.
Why is that controversial?
I don't know. I feel like maybe that'll cause controversy outside of the two of us.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, social studies is purple.
Actually, it's probably the color I would have used as well
Fascinating. Okay.
because I was not really a fan of yellow, and so the primary colors that I would have had would have been red, blue, green, and purple.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I ever had a like specific folder or notebook for like an art class.
I think I did at one point, but that was the one where I always got like a pattern folder.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like I got my extra fun spicy folder for art class.
Well, I always all my folders always had patterns, like especially at elementary school, I had the Lisa Frank folders.
Love it.
But my notebooks, I would have a separate notebook to take notes for each class, and those were the ones that had like the 5 star, solid color.
Oh, and this I'm certain is very unique to the school that I went to, but we took Spanish starting in like first grade. Spanish was yellow.
I think that's getting to be more common now than it used to be.
Yeah. But yeah,
So,
that was science is green, math is red, English is blue, social studies is purple, Spanish is yellow. Um, Art class gets the fun pattern folder if I need one.
feels right. I mean, so we were pretty close actually, except
Hell
for the math
yeah.
English thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just felt right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
And then
have
when I got
some
to
love.
high school, I just started carrying around one single notebook and I would just like tear the page out and put it in a binder that was divided by subject.
Oh yeah, I had it was like a flexible binder. I forget what they're
A
called.
trapper keeper?
No, no, a Trapper Keeper. Well, I actually did have a lot of those like in middle school.
Hell yeah.
But no, I forget what it was called. It was a 5 star product or mead, whatever. But it was like a binder, but it didn't have those hard rings and hard cover. It was like a softer cover, and the rings were flexible. And so the kind of cool
Fascinating.
thing
I
about it,
don't know if I've ever seen one of these.
yeah, I can't remember what they called it, but you could have like a section for each class. So I would just add, pages to each section as I needed them and just carry the one.
Yeah, that was the move.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had a lot of like the zip up Trapper Keepers, and I would just get the plain like 5 star ones, and then we would draw and write on them with whiteout pens.
I love it. That's so fun.
Yeah. We like write on each other's. We'd like write, so and so loves so and so, and
Oh my god,
favorite
nerd.
band. Yeah. I'm talking middle school, so.
No, yeah, I got you. Sometimes I feel like my middle school experience was particularly weird because I went to such a small school. There wasn't much of that.
I feel like your school was bigger than mine.
I was with the same 30 kids from first grade to eighth grade.
How many did you graduate with?
Like my high school,
Yeah.
500.
Yeah, I had 200.
Yeah, but again, the same 30 people. That was it. Like from first grade to eighth grade. Like we had a graduation from eighth grade.
Well, yeah, but I switched schools and everything. And yeah, we stayed with the same class in middle school too. But
I'm,
you're around other people. There are other people in the school
yeah, there are other people in the school, but like,
that you go to lunch with and, you see around that are part of clubs and things.
no,
It's not like you were siloed and you never saw other humans outside of the people in that room.
well, no, but again, my school was tiny.
Didn't we just establish your graduating class was more than twice the size of mine?
How many kids were in your school? Like in mid, like, did you have like a separate junior high?
We had a middle school, yeah, that was separate from the high school.
Yeah, nope. The K through 8 was its own building, and then they just shipped us off to high school. My like quote unquote graduating class for eighth grade was 30 kids.
Hmm. Then your high school must have had multiple middle schools feeding into it then.
Yes, it did.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I got a hell of a lot of stories out of that whole experience, so honestly, I'm grateful for it.
Well, I was in Catholic school from preschool through fourth grade, where we had literally 15 kids
Nice.
in the entire class, yeah. So that was my experience for the most of my elementary school years.
Love it. Anyway, um, we've got some visuals coming up.
Ah,
Put
right.
this in the chat
Never
for
mind,
you. This is a here. You know what? What is the most efficient? Okay, yeah. Let me just drag this over here so it's visible for the people real quick. I want to talk about this method for opening a package of bacon.
I mean, so I've probably only made bacon like two or three times in my entire life.
That's the saddest thing I've
So
ever heard. Please continue.
I'm just not like super into bacon. Like it's fine. Um, the only times I've ever made it was to like put it in a quiche or something, but it's just,
Mm-hmm.
not my favorite thing. And it just to me is a pain to make 'cause it's so greasy and anyway. So I don't have a ton of experience with it. However, this method where
This
they
is
have
the first
taken
time I have ever seen this in my fucking life.
this method where they've taken a package of bacon and essentially just cut the entire package in half can make sense if you want like littler, crispier pieces of bacon, I feel like.
I mean, here's the thing. Technically, yes. There's something about this, however, that just like viscerally offends me from a visual standpoint. Like everything about this just looks wrong.
Yeah, like I could see it being a very efficient way of doing things if you want shorter pieces of bacon, but it's kind of like, yeah, you could eat a Kit Kat more quickly if you take a giant chomp out of it without breaking them apart first,
But
but
like that's illegal.
it's upsetting.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to see that. And it's a similar
precisely.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that this person who has made this Tumblr post has included this helpful little like chart of like this pie chart of reactions to their own post.
Hmm.
And I am fascinated. Like I'm just so interested. Reactions to my bacon opening methods (parentheses subtitle) as recorded after 24 hours and just after the post hit 1,000 notes. So we've got 43.1% of reactions rage, disgust, confusion, etc. And that splits off into a separate pie chart that we will get to. 24%, I've done this. Again, splits off into a second pie chart that we will get to. 15.4%, I don't do this, but it's a good idea. 7.1%, sure, why not? 6.5%, I know someone who does this. 2.5%, this is normal in the food service industry, which honestly, that makes sense to me if you have to cook mass quantities of like something that is, especially if you got to do like bacon bits for something,
Oh.
like,
Or like, yeah, shred it up to put in something.
that makes sense. And then 1.5%, this isn't normal, but it is funny. So, in the 24%, I've done this slice of the pie, it breaks off into 4.6%. I've done this, but with a knife. So, this person used kitchen shears to cut this package of bacon in half, just like down the middle. 0.3%. I've done this, but in thirds.
It's like that much bacon.
Which again is bizarre, but also like, again, maybe bacon bits for like,
Yeah.
for stew. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably easier to do that when it's raw than when it's cooked, maybe. I don't know.
Probably. And then making up most of the 24% I've done this response, we have 18.9% I've done this with scissors, with kitchen shears. And then the 43.1% slice of this pie, which is rage, disgust, confusion, etc., breaks off into an absolutely hilarious pie chart of further responses, which is as follows. 13.4%, what the fuck? 6.1%, why? 4%, this is unhinged. 4%, something is wrong with you. 3.1%, this is wrong. 2.7%, this is a crime. 2.4%, scissors, exclamation point, question mark. 1.8%, frowny smiley face, or like frowny text face.
Oh yeah, I almost missed that one.
Angry frowny text face. 1.2%, this is as offensive as breaking spaghetti in half in front of an Italian. 1.2%, can't you peel the package open? 0.9%, do you wash the scissors?
Of course, it's raw meat.
Another 0.9%, your bacon expired over a year ago. And 0.6%, I want to study you.
How can they see the date on that package?
I don't know. Here, let me try zooming in. Okay, it's not letting me.
Yeah.
I think it might be the way that this person's blog is formatted that I can't zoom in on that one. But, yeah. Where do we fall?
I honestly think I'd probably just be in the sure, why not category.
Okay,
Like, I can see reasoning for it. Okay, whatever.
I think I'm gonna fall into the I want to study you. Because I had never seen this before in my life, and I was like, what in the goddamn hell?
So that puts you in the rage, disgust, confusion, etc. category, etc.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I think it's confusion. Because, I mean, again, I can see, like, you know, food service industry makes sense to me. I've never seen it before in my life, but all right. So that's why I would put myself in the I want to study you. Because I'm not, like... Seeing it the first time was viscerally upsetting. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? But now I'm just kind of... But now I'm like, yeah, I want to study. Like, I want to understand. This is bizarre to me. So.
I'm surprised there's nothing in here about, like, just asking the person why they want their bacon in half. Because to me, that's the real question.
I don't think you're wrong.
Because if they have good reason for wanting their bacon like cut in half, then this seems very logical.
Yeah.
Seems like a very convenient way to do it, because why would you cut open the package and then cut the bacon in half separately if you could just combine them? And in that way,
Yeah.
you're working
Yeah.
smart.
I guess that's what really matters. Why they want their bacon in shorter pieces than
Yeah, I mean,
they
this,
are provided with.
it starts out yay long, but when it cooks, it shrinks up. I
Yeah.
mean, so you're gonna end up with pretty small pieces of bacon.
I mean,
And
again, maybe it is for incorporating into something.
potentially, but they basically, um, the way they put it was I realized the way I open bacon is probably not normal, meaning that this is the way that they always do it.
Ooh. Yeah. Hmm.
So it's not like a one-time thing, like, hey, I had this idea and I wanted to see if it was normal. It was like, wait, it just occurred to me that this way I open bacon might not be
Yeah,
normal.
if you're opening every single package of bacon like that, like just to like make your like bacon and eggs or like make a side of bacon with your pancakes or whatever, that's weird.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that that's the implication.
That's again, I still am firmly in the I want to study you camp, but ever so slightly like closer to like no, that's weird rather than just confusion.
Yeah, I like at the very bottom of the post that is, I think we've all done something very important here. Thank you for your input. And then the hashtags on the bottom, there's an LOL, OMG, and then I like the pie charts though.
Good
Hashtag.
stuff. Yeah, every now and again I really do miss Tumblr. Like there's it's something about it just gives it a different flavor than various other social media sites, and I really couldn't put my finger on why precisely. But this is a good example of things I feel like you don't get on other websites. Anyway, our
Mhm.
final discussion point comes from the Bird app. Involves another link that I am sending you right now. Oh, here we go. This is from a Twitter account that I love dearly at Caucasian James. And the tweet reads thusly, will be linked for audio listeners. I call this a couch coffee. It might look weird, but as long as you're confident it won't spill, you should be able to place a cup of coffee right next to you on the couch. Hope everyone gets the chance to enjoy a couch coffee soon.
And the accompanying photo is just a picture of a mug of coffee sitting next to a person on a leather couch.
Yeah, I'm gonna come right out and say that I do this.
My first thought was this person doesn't have pets.
I have pets and I still do it. Nothing bad has happened yet. Will that come back to bite me in the ass? Very possibly, but nothing bad has
Someday,
happened yet.
someday Oliver's gonna come bolting in and jump right up on the couch next to you, and there will be tea everywhere.
You know what? And when that day comes, that's just something I'm gonna have to deal with. But yeah, I do just rest my mug of tea on the couch right next to me. Um, often
And you let go of
when
it?
yeah, because here's the thing: if I'm playing video games and I have two hands on the controller, sometimes Oliver is in my lap. So like, if I were to put, and if I'm like dead center on the couch, because I live alone and I would like to be centered for my gameplay. Um, reaching for like putting it on like one of the end tables or on the ottoman, like I'm gonna be disturbing him every single time I move. So I
Mm-hmm.
just put it next to me on the cushion. Again, nothing like it, yeah. I think this is perfectly fine. I think everyone who wants to should do it. Free yourself from societal expectations. You can put your mug of beverage on the couch cushions. It's okay.
I think some people need to realize their couch privilege.
Explain.
Because I was just letting that sit for a moment. Like this couch in the picture, as well as your couch, have kind of like the word I'm searching for. Um, like firmer, more structured cushions.
I mean, yeah, like you can't do couch coffee on a beanbag.
Well, no, but like my couch is much softer and not as like structured and even, and it actually kind of tilts slightly.
I think you could accomplish a couch coffee, but
My couch, you've experienced this, you sort of roll toward the back of the couch
yeah, but
when
you
you
have
lie
that
on it.
like straight you have that like ottoman
But
piece.
that's not a couch, that's an ottoman.
What about the love seat?
The
I
love
think
seat
you
is
could I think you could accomplish a couch coffee on the love seat.
the love seat is a bit more structured because it's not as ridiculously wide.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't ever sit there because it's, not really the best angle for the TV.
Have I just been kicking you out of your spot every single time I've come to hang out at your apartment?
The spot I always sit in.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, when you're a guest, you get to sit whatever you want. Sit wherever you want. Um,
That's fair. Um,
yeah, um, but I pretty much always have at least one blanket on the couch because I'm perpetually cold regardless of time of year. Um, and sometimes while I'm drinking my coffee in the morning, Nix comes and lays in my lap. And so then I don't want to like lean anywhere to put the mug down. So sometimes I'll sort of like nestle my empty mug in the blanket so it doesn't fall over and wait till she wakes up and moves before I get up and move my mug. So there is that.
yeah, I'm very pro couch coffee, couch tea, couch hot chocolate, couch beverage.
Yeah, no,
It
it's
has to
just
be in
safe.
a mug though. You can't just be out here put like raw dogging a glass on your couch. That's wrong. And like I don't know
Well, it'll
why.
be stable
Yeah. Maybe
because
something
glasses tend to be taller.
yeah, something about the sort of short, sturdy nature of the average mug plus the fact that there's a handle, it just makes the whole thing feel safer.
Well, and usually they're like weightier at the bottom because they got like,
Yeah.
they're made of ceramic or whatever,
Yeah.
and they have like the sort of like a lip on the bottom of them in a way. A lot of them
Sometimes they
do,
even have little feet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sturdy little buddies.
Were you about to say
So
sturdy little bastards?
I was gonna say buggers, and then I was like, "Who am I?" And so I changed midstream.
Oh, well, boom,
But sturdy little
episode
bastards,
title.
what is it, actually? What?
Sturdy little buggers. I love that for us. Yeah, I think couch coffee is perfectly normal. I think more people should do it. I think you should free yourself from the
I don't
expectations
get,
of society and others.
but I don't get what's supposed to be better about it or desirable about it.
You don't have to reach for your beverage. It's just right there.
But depending on where you're sitting, like you might not really have to do that.
You might not, but again, if I'm sitting dead center in my couch, got the kitty on my lap, playing video games, don't want to want as minimal movement as possible, couch mug. Couch mug is the most elegant solution in that situation.
Hmm. My mind went away for a minute there, but because I was like, wait, but I was just sitting in your living room drinking tea with Oliver in my lap the other day.
Yeah, but you were in the
And I
chair.
was in a chair, yeah. But then I started thinking about that tea, and then I was thinking about how I have to run errands tomorrow, and thinking, oh, maybe I'll go
Go to
over to
Trader Joe's and
Trader
get some of
Joe's
that
and pick
fucking
her. Yeah.
tea.
And so I went through that whole series of thoughts, and then realized I was just sitting here not talking. So maybe tomorrow I
I
gotta
mean,
go
hey,
get.
you recovered it though.
Yeah, what a great set of errands for tomorrow that like, okay, I'm gonna start off by going and getting some tea, pick up a prescription, and then go buy some frozen mice. That's my
Oh, fun. So it just gets more it gets I'm going to say progressively more unhinged
yeah.
cuz I mean, I guess I'm allowed to say that I'm crazy and not normal for being mentally ill because I'm the one who's mentally ill. I was about to say there's normal reasons that you could be picking up a prescription too.
There Or
And
I'm
like, that's obviously not what I mean.
yeah, I'm picking up my lady pills. I don't know why I like to call them that. I had a boyfriend in college who used to refer to everything having to do with the female productive reproductive system as lady whatever. And I've just always liked, I don't
It's
know why.
kind of funny.
Yeah,
Like,
I've just done
it's
it ever
yeah, I'll give
since.
him that one. It's a little bit funny.
Well, and plus, I don't like to call them birth control pills because that's only one of the functions that they're used for,
Yeah.
you know? Because they're they're basically used as a panacea for everything wrong with a woman. So,
But like some people, if you got real bad acne, sometimes it
yeah,
helps.
yeah. So that's why I just call them lady pills.
I love it. As is you're right. But no, I just think a really like again, slowly becoming more unhinged as your errands go on. It's like picking up tea, picking up my crazy person meds, buying frozen rats.
Well, I've already got my crazy person meds. I don't need those.
Yeah, so that's had that weird moment where I was like, wait, there's normal reasons that you could go to a pharmacy.
Yeah, that's a normal reason. I've been
It is a
taking
normal
pills
reason, but like you know what
for
I
almost
mean.
20
Like
years.
you under like the joke I'm making is clear, correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. I'm doing
Because you
great.
automatically assumed unhinged because you assumed it was mental health related, and you're like, oh, it doesn't have to be mental health related.
Precisely. And
Right.
again, we can roast ourselves like this because we're the ones dealing with it.
Yeah, what a day it'll be.
What a
Just
day it will
some
be
fun.
indeed. But hey, at least you'll have tea at the end of it after you're
That's
done with
true.
your
And then
errands.
yeah, that's why I figured I'd like do all that first thing in the morning, and then I get to come home and make a cup of tea and then work.
Rip.
Yeah, classes start next week.
Oh god, good luck. Have fun fixing your sleep schedule.
Oh man, dude, I got myself to sleep at 10:30 last night because
Oh my
I
god,
was
who is she?
wiped out, right? And
I
then I
get the
woke up.
feeling that this is not going to have as good of an ending as I'm hoping it does.
Well, I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, and I was like, this is kind of early, and I only slept 7 hours. I could use a bit more. And I was like, I'll go back to sleep for like an hour. Insert SpongeBob SquarePants frame. 3.5 hours later.
3.5 hours later.
Yeah, so I slept like 10.5 hours.
I mean,
And
if you're that tired, you do need it.
yeah, but the point being that I slept late today, which means I might have trouble going to bed at a decent time tonight. And the cycle might just start over, so.
Hmm. Yeah, Godspeed.
Yeah, yeah. I need some tranquilizers or something. Just hit myself with a blow dart.
Okay. I think there might be steps you can take before that, but that's a good like plan like D.
I can't help it. I'm thinking about Ace Ventura, Pet Detective 2 When Nature Calls,
Why are you thinking about that?
because there's tranquilizer blow darts in that movie.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I haven't seen that movie.
Terrible reference.
Okay. Fair enough. Noted. Um
Uh-huh.
well, I think your fucked up sleep schedule is a good place for us to leave this episode. Tune back in next week to see if she fixes it. She probably doesn't.
Because, well, yeah, for this time next week, I'll have been through my first day of classes. And so,
Yeah,
like,
but first day doesn't mean anything.
well, no, because I'll have to get up early that morning. So,
Yeah, but you still could have gone to bed at a ridiculous hour the night prior.
yes, but I should be so exhausted that hopefully I'll
Okay,
do
great. So
it.
I'll make sure that I do most of the talking next week.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see. You'll just have to come back and find out. All right. As always, thank you for fighting with us, friends. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we will see y'all same time, same place next week. Adios. This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Dr. Sarah Brooks. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98 and at AndSarahSaid. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch and Facebook, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature, or consider donating to our Patreon for early access to episodes and fun bonus content. Thanks for listening!